So I want to talk about trans people for a second. Okay. So the Bible tells me that I'm supposed to love one another. We are supposed to love one another. As far as it depends on me, I'm supposed to be at peace with all people, right? So I don't want to stir up anything. I don't want to be mean to anybody. At the same time, I think it's important to stand on truth, especially when there are other people at stake, right? So let me just speak on this real quick. God created people, right? Male and female. He created them, and he said it was good. Matter of fact, before woman was created, God said it was not good for man to be alone, and he created female, male and female. He created them, right? And so, this is a deal that I'm going to stand on, but I can still love trans people. I can do that at the same time. I can say that God created people, male and female, and still love trans people. Some people are going to say that statement right there is hate. And what I say to that is that's absolutely ridiculous for you to say that. And that's just hate speech, from people who are saying don't hate. That is people, being very, very critical when they say, oh, don't be critical. That's people being very uninclusive when they say be inclusive. It's hypocrisy, right, at its core. And so what I want to say is I think there's room for Christians to absolutely love the trans community, and we can have our beliefs about all kinds of different things, but we can love them. We can show love. Love is on purpose, right? Love is a choice. Love is action. Love is a verb. Love is how you act towards someone. It's not just a feeling, right? If it were a feeling, then there would be like nobody would be loved. If it were just a feeling, oh, I'm attracted to you, and so okay, how reliable is attraction? Like it's fleeting at best. What if somebody changes a little bit? Oh, okay. Well, now the attraction's gone. I don't love you anymore. No, love is love, and love gives. Love seeks to give, where lust seeks to get and seeks to take. Okay, so I can love trans people. I really can. So when I say, God created male and female, I stand on that, and I believe that, right? And there's not just three differences. People talk about, like two sexual organs on the chest and a sexual organ in the pelvis, right? And so there's four different things, right? And people want to change those things and say that they've changed sex, right? But there's thousands of differences between male and female biologically. And let me just talk about women and men in sports for a second. The reason that there are men's sports and women's sports is because a man, when when the chromosomes fall the way that they fall, right? And someone is a man, they get doused in testosterone. The amount of testosterone that is running through a body and affecting bone structure and affecting muscle growth, right, is a massive deal. You get that benefit from the time that you are in the womb. You get that benefit that you are just bathed in testosterone, right? And then you grow up with massive amounts of testosterone, like helping with muscle growth and stuff like that. And even bone structure is a big deal, right? Now, are there women who are stronger than men? Absolutely. There's some puny men out there, and there's some massively strong women. Look at women bodybuilders. I mean, some of the things that women have accomplished are phenomenal, and I respect that, and I salute that, and I mean, I would just never go back on that. I mean, some of the things that women done have been insane, incredible. There are women who are stronger than me, and I'm a pretty strong guy. I've spent a lot of time in the gym. Okay, but there are women who are stronger than me. Okay, who cares? That's phenomenal. But on the basis of what people have been able to benefit from the time they were in their mother's womb, someone who has been bathed in testosterone from the time they were in their mother's womb has no business competing against a biological woman. Period. They have an advantage. It's the same deal as like you want to keep the playing field level, so you basically ban certain drugs, right? And you ban certain substances. Actually, TRT, or testosterone replacement, I think it's replacement therapy. Yeah, that's what it is. Testosterone replacement therapy, TRT, right? That is considered an unfair advantage in athletics. You find somebody taking that stuff and you like That's an unfair advantage. And I'm not even talking about that's considered a steroid, right? And like there's other steroids that are big and they stack on top of that, right? But like they actually call it stack or stacking or something like that. And, a lot of them just call it gear, right? But like when you get those types of things involved in sports, guess what? You have all kinds of sanctions and things rain down on you. Well, people who were bathed in testosterone from the time they were in their mother's womb, we call them men, right? Like, how in the world is that fair for them to compete against a biological woman who did not have that physiological advantage going into sports? Like women are made differently. Women are made to bear children, and they're made to do a lot of other things too. But the miracle of life comes from a woman's body, and we ought to respect that. We ought to honor that. And then for them to have to play on the same playing field of someone who was like, bathed in testosterone from the time that they were in their mother's womb, that's not fair. That is like, it's like doping. It's like a doping scandal. It's like someone who was able to take all these, doping things and then compete against somebody who's never done any doping in their entire life, right? This is a doping scandal, right? This is not about hating trans people. No, nobody said I hate trans people. So people are going to respond to watch in the comments. Some people are going to say, oh, he just hates trans people. And you know what? I'm used to that. You stand up for truth. You stand up for what you believe in, and people call you hate. They call you names. That's what happens when people don't have the ability to debate something like you've been bathed in testosterone since you were in your mother's womb. There's no debating that biologically. There's no debating that scientifically. There's no debating that at all. You can't debate it, right? So one person's been bathed in testosterone from the time that they were in their mother's womb and the other one hasn't, right? And then they're supposed to compete on the same level playing field. Give me a break. That is not hating trans people. That is telling the truth and protecting women in women's sports. That's it. Protecting women in women's sports. A biological woman should not have to compete against somebody who has been effectively naturally doping for their entire life, right? It's not fair. It's not fair, right? So that is standing up for women and women's rights, not hating trans people. Okay? Yeah, hope that's clear.